We're gonna go through every division, we're gonna go through every single team. So last year, I don't know if you know this, the Dodgers won the World Series. Second best offense in baseball, fifth best ERA in baseball, won the World Series for the second straight year in a row, won the division for the 12th time in 13 years. And what did they do this offseason? They proceeded to ruin baseball by signing Kyle Tucker, arguably the biggest signing of the offseason. And then you also get Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers, won NL Reliever of the Year last year. $240 million for Tucker and 3 years, $69 million for Edwin Diaz. They replaced Michael Conforto with Kyle Tucker. Their other weakness was their bullpen. They had arguably the best closer in baseball over the past 3 years. And this causes this whole hoopla about how the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Guess how much they spent? $330 million this offseason. The year before, they spent $405 million in the offseason. The year before that, they spent $1 billion in the offseason. So the past 3 offseasons, $1.7 billion in contracts. I guess that's a record, Mitch. Kyle Tucker is getting $60 million this year. That's the second highest AAV in history. The highest is Shohei with $70 million a year. So they have the highest and second highest paid players of all time on the same team. That means they pay a 110% tax rate on these new deals. So the Dodgers are gonna send $120 million. $60 million goes to Tucker. Another $60 million goes to the league for taxes. They're spending more on Kyle Tucker this year than the Twins, the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Nationals, the Athletics, the Rays, the White Sox, the Guardians, and the Marlins are paying their entire roster. One player, the Dodgers are paying more than 1/3 of the fucking league is paying their entire payroll. Dodgers, $169 million in luxury taxes this year. So just the taxes make them the 16th highest payroll in the league. So they pay more in taxes than half the fucking league pays in payroll. And you might be asking, everyone's asking at home, how is this possible? The answer? Deferrals, okay? Ohtani's making $70 million a year. Guess what the Dodgers are paying him this year? $2 million. We're gonna have to start paying him another $68 million until 2034. That's when they start paying him. Mookie Betts deferred $120 million. Blake Snell deferred $182 million. Freddie Freeman deferred $57 million. Will Smith deferred $50 million. Kyle Tucker deferred $30 million. Tommy Edman deferred $25 million. And Teoscar Hernandez deferred $23 million. So it's a rule now. If you want to sign to the Dodgers, you best be deferring, bitch, or go elsewhere. All those guys combined are supposed to be getting paid $273 million this year. The Dodgers are only gonna have to pay them $122 million this year. If you go around the league, the players love this shit. Manny Machado, I fucking love it. It's fucking great for the game. Bryce Harper, I love what the Dodgers do, honestly. So the players like it, a lot of the fans don't like it, because if you're a smaller market team, it seems a little bit unfair and they can't afford all the free agents because the Dodgers are sweeping them all up. But I will say this notion that the Dodgers are ruining baseball by being so much better than everybody else is a little far-fetched. First of all, we've seen this before. Starting in 1996, the Yankees made it to the World Series 5 times in 7 years. They won the World Series 4 times in 5 years. They won the World Series 3 years in a row. They went 9-1 in those World Series. So they swept the World Series 2 years in a row, and then on the third one, they won 1 in 5 games. So basically straight domination. And this is in the late 90s. So this is like baseball's most recent golden era. This is like steroid era shit. So to argue that like one team winning over and over again is bad for the league, let's say from a business perspective, from a popularity perspective, is very far from the case. That's actually probably pretty good. I mean, the Dodgers have 1 year, 2 years in a row. We have to remember they barely fucking won it. I mean,
they were like 3 feet away from losing.
Yes, and like 5 different times. Could have easily lost that. The year before against the Padres, they were in the same thing. They almost got out of the DS. To act like the Dodgers are just shooting to win the World Series this year is a little cuckoo. That being said, they are the best team in baseball, for sure. 98.8% chance to make the playoffs according to Fangraphs before they play a freaking game. The biggest X factor here is Shohei Ohtani. So last year he didn't pitch until June, never threw more than 91 pitches in the game. It's what the Dodgers do with all their pitchers because they really don't have to worry about the regular season. They're gonna be in the playoffs. So the main object of their regular season was just to keep everybody healthy. He didn't pitch until June and then didn't throw more than like 4 innings until the last game of the season. This year is different. Dave Roberts says, quote, Ohtani expects to be in the Cy Young conversation in 2025. Dodgers president Andrew Friedman, quote, he seems like he's on a mission pitching-wise. He wants a Cy Young, Dodgers backup catcher Dalton Rushing said. He wants a Cy Young, and you can tell with the way he's carrying himself recently. Teoscar Hernandez said, quote, I think this year we're gonna expect a different Shohei on the mound. It is very clear by these articles he wants to win the Cy Young.
Now the Dodgers depth chart is showing 5 starters, which would mean that he's pitching every 4 or 5 days, and he's never really done that before.
But he wants the Cy Young. And if Shohei puts his mind to something, it usually happens. But there's other teams in the division. The Padres. Fangraphs has the Padres finishing 4th in the division. 3 games from beating the Dodgers last year. Now they're picked to finish 4th, Mitchell. The franchise is currently up for sale. They lost Dylan Cease. They lost Robert Suarez. They lost Ryan O'Hearn. Lost Luis Ariz. They also had Nick Castellanos. Had a big fallout with the Phillies. Apparently last year in Miami is his hometown, so he had all his friends and family in the crowd. In the 8th inning, he gets taken out of the game as a defensive replacement. But he was not happy about that. Gets pissed, brought a beer into the dugout, and supposedly said something so disrespectful to their manager that the Phillies considered suspending him from the team. So this offseason, reports come out that the Phillies were trying to trade him. Then when spring training started, he was not there. He knew that this story was going to come out, so he basically exposes himself with a handwritten Instagram post, tells on himself for bringing the beer into the dugout. And apparently, according to the articles, Castellanos felt like he was a star and wasn't treated the way he should be by the organization. Some of his teammates think he's getting too much special treatment. Some thought he should have been benched behind Harrison Bader, because they did sign Harrison Bader. Tough year for Castellanos last year, negative .8 WAR with a 694 OPS last season. He was vocal, like Mitchell said. He didn't trust Thompson or Kevin Long because they did not play in the majors. The hitting coach and the manager never played in the majors, and the Phillies end up releasing him, paying him $20 million not to be on the team this year. Padres, who are famous for having clubhouse problems, have introduced a potential clubhouse problem. Picked to finish 4th, picked worse than the Diamondbacks. They won the championship in 2023, the National League Championship, in 2024 and 2025. Can't make the playoffs, Mitchell. And last year, they were 6th in runs. Granted, they do lose Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor. They trade him at the deadline. They're kind of like in a weird rebuilding stage, but they don't have a terrible roster. Did add Nolan Arenado, whatever that's worth at this point. I guess the real question, though, are they going to be better than the Giants? Biggest story coming out of the Giants camp is they hired a college guy, former coach of the University of Tennessee, never played professional baseball. This is the first manager ever to get hired out of college. He calls himself coach, not manager. 81-81 for the Giants, had a very hot start to the season. Then guess what happened? They signed Devers and ruined everything. Even though Devers had a great season, they end up finishing 81-81. This year they're projected to go 82-80. So, Willie Adames, Harrison Bader, Helio Ramos, Devers, Chapman, and Ju-Hoo Lee, you could do a lot worse than that.
Yeah, the inverse is that you could also do a lot better.
You're right. You're right. We're moving on to the Rockies. They were the worst team in baseball last year, if you recall, 43 wins. Fangraphs this year says worst team in baseball again, 2 years in a row. They hired the Moneyball guy. John Podesta is his name. But his first move is to sign Tomoyuki Suganu, who has given up the most home runs in the league last year, and that is the new Moneyball. Unconventional thinking. Let's get the guy who gives up the most home runs and put him in a park where it's the easiest to hit home runs and see what happens. Zach Fien, another guy, put on 43 pounds over the offseason because he stopped smoking weed. This guy hits a double, first major league double, pretends to hit a ball at second base, and then waves it into his face. The Rockies player development described that as cringe. By not smoking weed, he's put on 43 pounds this offseason. He says he cut it out of his lifestyle, replaced weed with protein. But the Rockies have a lot of other things to be looking forward to. Not really. Projected to win 66 games and be the worst team in baseball. So that puts a bowl in the NL West. And I'm going to give it to the Dodgers. Mitchell?
Yeah.
The Yankees last year, they finished 2nd, but this year the projections got the Yankees finishing 1st. Giancarlo Stanton can't open a bag of frickin' chips, and he's gonna play anyway. 2 tennis elbows at one time. Can't even open a bottle, he says. Can't even open a bag of chips. Apparently the operation won't fix it. Guy's like an 8-18 in spring training with 4 home runs. So he's battling through 2 tennis elbows. Garrett Cole's coming back. Garrett Cole pitched one time, coming off Tommy John. Maxed out at 98.7. If Garrett Cole comes back and he's good, we're looking at a very big addition for the Yankees.
Bellinger came back, Goldschmidt came back, Yarborough came back, Ahmed Rosario came back. They re-signed Paul Blackburn. Frank Grisham accepted the QO.
Their weakness last year was their bullpen, but they did add Camilo Duvall and Bednar. They're going to be there for a full season. So, they don't have any glaring weaknesses. They add Garrett Cole back. The Blue Jays, finishing first place, winning 94 games, lost the World Series by an inch. What do they do after that? Spend a shit ton of money. They spent $339 million, more than any other team in the league. They lose Bo Bichette. Andres Jimenez moves to 3rd. Ernie Clement is now going to be playing 2nd. And Kazuma Okamoto is going to be their 3rd baseman. This is a guy coming out of Japan, was on the WBC roster in the last 2 WBCs. Batted 5th this year for Japan, so that gives you an idea of how good he is. Led Japan in homers 3 seasons, led Japan in RBIs twice, 6-time All-Star, and 2 Gold Gloves in Japan. So they add Kazuma, but they lose Bichette. The problem with the Blue Jays, injuries, bro. Jose Barrios hasn't pitched yet this spring. You savage, postseason hero. He's starting the year on the IL. They signed Dylan Cease, 7 years, $210 million for Cease. Largest pitching contract this offseason. The rotation is Gausman, Cease, Cody Ponce, Eric Lauer, and Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, 41. He will never retire, bro. He will pitch till he's 47. So they got them finishing second, but they're tied with the Red Sox. 5th best pitching staff in baseball, 2nd best bullpen in baseball, 9th best OPS. But Red Sox fans were not happy. They trade Devers because of Bregman, and then this offseason, they don't sign Bregman. Red Sox fans are pissed, but they do salvage it a little bit. They get Ranger Suarez, so the top pitching free agent according to last year's WAR, and they get Sonny Gray in a trade. Now, Sonny Gray's a little older, but that's a guy who finished second in Cy Young voting 2 years ago. I think the Red Sox are gonna be a lot better, but not because they added anyone, just because everyone's getting older. I mean, you got Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, Cedane Rafaela, and Wilner Abreu, right? You add Tristan Campbell, Roman Anthony, Marcel Meyer, but all three of those guys are 24 or younger.
Roman Anthony had some of the best numbers after coming up.
Might be the best player of all time. The 71 games he played last year, 3.1 WAR with 140 OPS plus, and he was 21 years old. He's on pace to be the best player of all time. Do the math. So Red Sox fans stay mad because they don't spend, but team looks pretty brawling. Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, Ranger Suarez, Brian Bayo. So the Red Sox tied with the Blue Jays in projections. Then you got the Orioles, 24th in runs, 24th in ERA, 25th in bullpen ERA, so they sucked at everything. Luckily they get Pete Alonso, and Pete Alonso comes in, 5-year, $155 million, and gets a sauna for the boys. So he came in and saw no sauna, no way, looking to save the Orioles, because after 291 seasons, they were absolutely terrible last year, and it's really because they're starting pitching. Zach Eflin, not great, 5.92 ERA. Charlie Morton ends with a 5.42 ERA. Cade Povich, 5.21 ERA. So they had 3 starting pitchers to start the season and their seasons with the Orioles with negative WAR. They also had Chris Bassett, who is 37 years old, 25 starts, 6 seasons in a row, very consistent. They had Shane Baz, 4.87 ERA last year, but the peripherals love this guy. And that's gonna be a big X factor because, God, man, was that rotation terrible last year. They project the Orioles to have the 2nd most runs scored. I mean, the lineup is nice. Gunnar Henderson to lead it off, Taylor Ward, Pete Alonso, Adley Russian, Tyler O'Neill stays on the squad. Don't forget about Kowser. I don't know how that lineup projects to have the 2nd most runs scored in baseball.
I don't either.
Moving on to the worst team in the AL East, according to the projections, Jack's favorite team, the Rays, dude. They're projected to go 81-81. It is what it is. It's a stacked division. Got Junior Caminero, so finally they got a superstar who's not a pedophile. That's good. 3rd best third baseman, period, by WAR in 2025. They added Cedric Mullins. They add Gavin Lux. The Rays are starting Steven Matz. Welcome back to the rotation, Matz. Shane McClanahan, back from injury, hasn't pitched from 2023. That was a Cy Young candidate at one point. And Drew Rasmussen, but projected to finish last. The NL East are Braves. So 2nd year in a row, Jurgis and Profar gets suspended for using steroids. Was not very good for the most of his career. Has a breakout season in 2024. Signs a massive deal with the Braves. Immediately gets suspended for doing steroids. Comes back, has a good season when he plays, I guess because he kept doing steroids. Now he's suspended for the whole season because he tested positive again for steroids. More injuries. Sean Murphy's already hurt. Ha-Seong Kim, big free agent signing. Exciting stuff. He slips on ice. He gets injured. Spencer Schwellenbach, elbow surgery. A.J. Smith-Schaffner, Tommy John. Strider, who's a massive question mark. Last year, he comes back from TJ, has a terrible season, 4.45 ERA, averaged 95.5 on his fastball, 3 miles per hour down from his peak in 2022. But yet, the Braves are still projected to have the 2nd most wins in baseball. We have Matt Olson, we have Matt Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley's, Michael Harris, Ronald Acuna Jr., all great players. They've all regressed since 2023 when they all went off. And we got Bryce Elder, Grant Holmes, pitching number 4. Ronaldo Lopez, who you just said was down 6 miles per hour today, and Spencer Strider with his question marks. And then Chris Sale, who's number 1 starter, amazing, but can't make it through a full season without getting hurt. Maybe the Braves will win the World Series this year. I'm not so confident. But the projections don't lie. We're the 2nd best team in baseball, tied with the New York Mets. The Mets had one of the most embarrassing seasons of all time last year. 96% chance to make the playoffs in July, didn't make the playoffs. Best record in baseball in June, again, didn't make the playoffs. And then this offseason, they lose Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz in like a 1-week span. Mets fans off the fucking hook pissed. Then they trade Brandon Nimmo, but they did salvage their offseason. They trade Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. So Bo Bichette's going to the Mets. He's going to play 3rd. Marcus Semien's going to be 2nd. Francisco Lindor is going to be shortstop. And then Jorge Polanco is going to be 2nd. He had 134 OPS plus last season. So tell me that's not an amazing infield. I also add Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. They get the New York Yankees relievers. And probably their best signing, Freddie Peralta, 7th best starter in baseball by ERA, and he's 29 years old. So the starting rotation of the Mets looks fire. I mean, Freddie Peralta, Noel McLean, who looks like one of the best pitchers, potentially. David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, and Kodai Senga. Last good team in the NL East is the Phillies. Drama-filled offseason. But before we get to that, let's get a quick word from today's podcast sponsor, Ridge Wallet. I've been using Ridge Wallet for 7 months now. I love it because it's small, it's sleek, it looks amazing, and it is durable. It does everything my old wallet does, but it's probably 1/4 the size. Holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and comes in over 50 colors. All Ridge wallets have a lifetime warranty, so this is literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. It also has anti-RFID blocking technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpocketers. Yes, there are digital pickpocketers swiping your information out of your pocket, but not with Ridge. So join the masses and get a Ridge wallet with over 100,000 5-star reviews. You will not be disappointed. Right now, you can get 40% off. Just head to ridgewallet.com, use code PDE at checkout, and buy a Ridge wallet today. That's ridge.com, code PDE for 40% off. Thank you. So Dave Dombrowski, the GM of the team in the offseason, says Bryce Harper did not have an elite season, and Bryce Harper did not like that. Bryce Harper wore a shirt that said not elite in the offseason. Bryce Harper feels mystified by Dave Dombrowski's quotes. Why would you say that about me? I'm your player. Then you had the Nick Castellanos drama. They lose Castellanos, they lose Harrison Bader, they lose Ranger Suarez as well, and they sign Adolis Garcia. So they replace Castellanos with Adolis Garcia. I mean, that is a upgrade. They extend Christopher Sanchez today. He was the best pitcher in the NL behind Paul Skeens. Zach Wheeler just threw a bullpen, so Zach Wheeler will be back in the rotation. They get Yohan Duran. He will be on the team for a full season. So to me, the Phillies are better.
If Mets run away with the division, wouldn't shock me. If the Phillies ran away with the division, wouldn't shock me.
You have no faith in the Nationals, no faith in the Marlins? The Nationals were last place last year. Now they have a 33-year-old manager. There are 271 active players who are older than the Nationals' new manager. New president of baseball operations, 36. President and their manager are 33 and 36 years old. They just sent down Dylan Cruz today, which is bad if you're a Nationals fan because that was their top prospect. So it's looking tough for the Nats, I'll be honest. They got James Wood, who's a beast, but other than that, there's not a ton to be excited about. Maybe they can be better than the Marlins. I mean, that's their hope. Finished third last year. Biggest move was their closer acquisition. They also got Owen Cassie, 62nd best prospect in baseball. They got Uri Perez and Sandy Alcantara, both healthy going into the season. That's probably the first time in a while. So not a ton of hope, but let's see, because they caught a hot streak last year. They can catch another one. Who the hell knows? Probably better than they have been in the past. Miami Marlins, not as bad as you think. Still bad. Let's move to the Central, man. The Cubs, they got second. This year, they're projected to get first. To lose Kyle Tucker this offseason to the Dodgers. Replace him with Alex Bregman, though. If you had to replace Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman is probably the best you're going to do. Lineup stays basically the same, other than that. They don't get better, they don't get worse. They were good last year. I could see some regression with the lineup. Rotation stays basically the same, except they get Edward Cabrera. They're picked to finish first. Guess who's picked to finish second? Pittsburgh Pirates are picked to finish second place. Last year they were last place, 28 games under 500. Fourth best ERA in baseball. Legitimately a great pitching staff. A lot of that is Paul Skeens for sure. And they add Jarrett Jones, who's coming back in May and June, top prospect. They add Bubba Chandler, who is the 10th best prospect in baseball. 3 of the most talented young pitchers in baseball. And then they have the new guy, Connor Griffin, who is the top prospect in baseball. He's not going to be up to start the season. I guess you can't call it the strongest young core because only one of them has actually proven it. Worst offense in baseball, last in home runs, last in runs, last in OPS, and really what they did this offseason is add some hitters, and that is Ryan O'Hearn and Marcell Ozuna. It's not crazy, but with O'Neal Cruz, upside, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Reynolds, consistently good hitter, Marcell Ozuna, maybe he gets it back, Brandon Lowe. Wow. I'd guess they're not going to be the worst. But fuck, man, you go by the projections, they're going to finish second place, Mitch. The Brewers had the best record in baseball last season. And now they're projected to be worse than the Pirates. They traded away Freddie Peralta, your best pitcher, Luis Rengifo, Gary Sanchez, Akil Baddoo. That's who they had. 2 of those guys didn't even have a positive WAR last year. 3rd in starting pitching last season, 3rd in offense last season, 6th in bullpen ERA. They were amazing. Lineup is good. I mean, Jackson Chourio, Bryce Terang, Team USA, beast. William Contreras, beast. Christian Yelich, veteran but a beast. And Sal Frelick, Andrew Vaughn. Their upside is 3rd best offense in the league. We saw them do it last year. It's unfortunate they traded Freddie Peralta. That kind of damages the hype. But again, it is the Brewers. And then you got the Reds. Somehow.
I completely forgot they were in the playoffs last year.
Somehow, some way. They made the playoffs. They thought they were going to sign Schwarber. They had Schwarber's dad throw out the first pitch. Schwarber is from the area. Do not sign Schwarber, but they get Eugenio Suarez. He had a tough second half after getting traded. 142 OPS plus with Arizona, but only a 94 OPS plus on Seattle. They're a good pitching staff last year. Andrew Abbott, 2.87 ERA, beast young pitcher. Nick Lodolo, underrated young pitcher, 3.33. Hunter Green, who had a 2.76, but only made 19 starts. Unfortunately, Hunter Green is going to be injured again. And then Chase Burns, 13.9 strikeouts per 9. They got a lot of young arms, Mitchell. Brady Singer as well. But tell me that pitching staff isn't actually fire. Can't sleep on the Reds. And then the last team, the Cardinals, who absolutely fucking stink. 4th place last year, they trade Brandon Donovan. They trade Sonny Gray. Trade Wilson Contreras. They trade Nolan Arenado. Brian Helsley is gone. Miles Michaelis is gone. Who the f do they have now? Projected to have the 6th worst record in baseball. Honestly, I feel like that. I think they might be the worst team. AL West, the Mariners. 1 win away from the World Series, projected to win again, but there's already drama. Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena are going at each other. So if you didn't watch the World Baseball Classic this year, Randy Arozarena on Team Mexico, Cal Raleigh on Team USA, different teams. So Randy Arozarena goes to the plate, tries to shake Cal Raleigh's hand. What does Cal Raleigh do? Doesn't shake his freaking hand. So everyone goes, what's going on with this? Why doesn't he want to shake his hand? Randy Arozarena, after the game, he says, quote, what he has to do is fuck off, go to hell, that fake gas, good to see you, he can shove it straight up his ass. Everyone was like, whoa, did that escalate quickly? Cal Raleigh comes out and is saying like, I feel bad, I love Randy, I'm just a competitive guy, I don't like shaking hands with batters before games. Randy then doesn't respond, so everyone's freaking out. Do these players hate each other? These are the 2 biggest players on the team. Randy then escalates it when Tatis Jr. and Contreras shake hands in the Dominican Republic game. Randy puts that on his story and then will not make a comment. So it seemed like a little thing at first, then you see those crazy quotes, you're like, what's going on? Then Cal Raleigh says nothing's wrong, Randy won't respond, then he makes a story, you're like, what the hell is going on? Finally, it's resolved. Randy Arozarena comes up and says he apologized to Cal. Nothing in the WBC takes away from the fact that we are brothers and teammates. We talked it out and everything went great. They're projected to have the 2nd best record and the best pitching staff in baseball. They re-signed Naylor. They lose Eugenio Suarez. Not that big of a deal because he wasn't even good for the Mariners, really. 94 OPS plus for them. Going into last year, their pitching staff looked amazing on paper and their offense was historically terrible. That's what held back the Mariners for years. But last year they hit. Ray Polanco goes off. Cal Raleigh hits 60 home runs. Randy Arozarena, 119 OPS plus. Julio Rodriguez, a great season, 128 OPS plus. And it was the pitchers who were struggling. 13th in starters ERA. 13th in starters ERA last year, but now they're projected number 1. Granted, you don't expect them to have an offense as good as they were last year, but you also don't expect them to have a pitching staff as bad as they were last year. They're going to be competing against the Astros. Last year they did finish 2nd, didn't make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Christian Walker, their big offseason signing, did not do great. Yordan Alvarez only played 48 games. I think that was a big kicker. Apparently, Carlos Correa almost drowned, almost died and found God this offseason. So that's probably gonna help. I was swimming with this kid, gets cramps in his legs, can't swim, no life jacket. Luckily his son had a life jacket, but according to himself, fought for his life, prayed to God, thought he was gonna die, and has since dedicated himself to God. No wonder he didn't get approved for insurance in the WBC. I think that's gonna make him better, dude. And they signed Suya Imai. So the Astros are going to make an argument that they are not washed up, and they're going to have to be competing with their Texas rivals. The Texas Rangers, a little bit of a shaky offseason, so they traded Marcus Semien. Then it comes out that Marcus Semien didn't get along with his team, signed a 7-year, $175 million deal. Reports came out that him and Corey Seager did not get along. John Heyman claimed on a podcast that the conflict was a reason for the trade. A Rangers reporter said that Semien a few times tried to organize team get-togethers and no one showed up. Evan Grant says, hard to call it a problematic relationship. I just don't think the guys ever developed a relationship. They didn't dislike each other, they just didn't hang out, basically. So last year, their offense was dog shit. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, Jock Peterson, 22nd in runs. All of them missed time with injury. Now they lose Adolis and Semien, so those are losses, but I mean, they didn't help much last year. But they had the best ERA in baseball last season. Jacob deGrom had a resurgent year. Nathan Eovaldi, underrated, 1.73 ERA in 22 starts last year, beast. Jack Leiter had a strong 10 starts, 3.86 ERA. They also add Mackenzie Gore from your Nationals. Mackenzie Gore definitely could emerge as a beast. Las Vegas Athletics of Sacramento don't have a stadium, but will play a couple games in Las Vegas this year. 2 series will take place in the 10,000 seat Las Vegas ballpark. I like the A's. I actually love the A's. 12th in runs last year, which isn't amazing. but they had 5 players with OPSs over 800. 3 of them were 23 or younger. They also have Shea Langoliers and Brent Rooker, who were beastly last year, a little older. And then Lawrence Butler, who I still love. Also had Jeff McNeil, a scrappy veteran. I mean, their pitching staff still sucks. 27th in ERA. And they did nothing to fix that. Angels, baby. If you like the Anaheim Angels, why the fuck do you like the Anaheim Angels? Last year they finished last, 72 and 90. This year they're projected to also finish last. But that's not a big deal because according to the owner, that's what the fans want. So the owner makes a statement. The number one thing fans want is affordability. They want safety and they want a good experience when they come to the ballpark. Believe it or not, winning is not one of their top 5 priorities. According to the owner of the Angels, real fans don't really care about winning. It's not even their top 5. They hire Kurt Suzuki, which no offense to Kurt Suzuki. The guy's never coached anything. He retired in 2022. They have 1 player projected to have more than 2 WAR. That means Mike Trout is projected to have less than 2 WAR, bro. How depressing is that? 25th in runs last year, 28th in starting pitching, 28th in relief pitching, 30th in defense. They can't score, they can't pitch, and guess what? They're last in defense, but it's okay. Because according to the owner, that's what the fans want. Last but not least, guys, AL Central. Mitchell's favorite team, the Tigers. They had the best record in baseball at the All-Star break and totally fucking choked it. Ended up going to the DS and losing barely by 1 game. So I would still say it was a positive season for the Tigers. This offseason was a little shaky too. So Scooble's arbitration case. Scooble said he was worth $32 million. The Tigers said he was worth $19 million. $13 million gap, which is the biggest of all time. The team basically has to come in and to the player's face, convince a third party that the player's not good enough to get paid. You basically have to insult the player. And a lot of times this makes the player hate the franchise. He ends up winning though.
Even after this though, they still went out and spent money.
Spent $187 million on free agents. So that's the most they've spent since 2022. This is probably the last year with Scooble because Scooble's had to make $500 trillion next year. The Tigers likely aren't going to be willing to pay that. They had Framber Valdez, so second best pitcher available according to WAR last year. They had Kenley Jensen and Justin Verlander's coming home. Ended last year at 11th in runs and 17th in ERA. Didn't have an impressive offense and did not have an impressive pitching staff. Gleyber Torres was an all-star. Ends with 108 OPS plus. Javi Baez was an all-star, ended with an 87 OPS plus. In the second half, 46 WRC plus, one of the worst hitters in baseball. Added some pitching, but no hitting. Projected to have the second best pitching staff in the league though, so you like that. Tough second half of the year, but I say going into this year, they gotta be the clear favorites in this division. You know what I gotta say though, I actually like the Royals. Royals finished 3rd last year in the division, but are projected to finish 2nd this year, tied with the Guardians. They obviously got Bobby Witt. Salvador Perez brought back on another 2-year deal. Slugged .516 in the second half. Jack Caglione, Vinny Pasquantino, had a great year last year. 120 OPS plus. I like the Royals. I'm convinced. I think Royals are going to win it this year. I don't like Cleveland at all. They have one good player. It's Jose Ramirez. They spent $11 million on free agency, which is jack shit. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz will not be pitching. They are being accused of betting. Their bullpen was amazing last year.
Wade Smith has been the best reliever in baseball by WAR over the last 2 seasons, and no one's close.
I mean, they also had a great starting staff. Gavin Williams had the same ERA as Tarek Skubal and Yamamoto in the second half, 2.18. Offense was terrible last year, 28th in runs. Only had 2 hitters above league average. And what did they do to fix that? At a Reese Hoskins, baby. Not to say that they're totally cooked. Definitely not cooked at the Guardians. Twins, nothing. I mean, they traded 40% of their roster at the All-Star break last year.
And Pablo Lopez tore his UCL.
So there you go, even worse. How are they projected to get 3rd? I don't get it. They traded 11 players in a week and 8 players in 1 day. Not loving the Twins' outlook. The White Sox, however, though, picked again to finish last, according to the projections. But dude, they added some guys. Munetake Murakami comes from Japan. 2 years, $34 million deal. Biggest guy coming out of Japan this year for sure. So he had a 945 career OPS in Japan. Set the single season home run record in Japan by a Japanese-born player. So he's on par with Seiya Suzuki's career numbers and Yoshida's career numbers. 246 career home runs in 8 seasons. He signs with the White Sox, gets here, notices there's no bidets in the White Sox clubhouse. Does he buy the bidets?
I think it was part of the negotiations. He goes, hey, we need bidets here. And the White Sox were like, we'll give it to you if you sign.
Nice. So he gets bidets in his contract. And that's not the only new thing in Chicago, baby. Sir Anthony Dominguez, Austin Hayes, Eric Fetty, Jordan Hicks, Jaron Kelnick, and Lamont Wade Jr. I mean, that's a step in the right direction. And that's really all we got. We just covered every single fucking team. It took 4 hours.
Jack is so ready to kick us out.